Okay.
All right. Hello, Matthew. My name's Jennifer Colson, and I'll be working with you as your counselor. A little bit about me. The type of theory I like to talk about is psychoanalytic, which is kind of based on you being unaware of the many different factors that cause whatever you might be going through or whatever discomforting emotions you might be feeling. So my goal for you is to work through that together. So tell me a
Sounds
little
good.
bit about you and why you're here.
Um, well, I guess I've been experiencing a lot of feelings of like overwhelm and even not right in the recent past, some depression,
Mm-hmm.
some just feeling of sadness and a lot of it has to do with my where my mother is at right now.
Okay, tell me a little bit
She's
more
just
about
in
that.
she's struggled with mental health issues her whole life, and she's isolated herself a lot, and um, she's just finding herself in her, she's in her early 60s now, and in this place where her health is declining. She doesn't have a lot of community because she's burned a lot of bridges, and
Mm-hmm.
she hasn't addressed a lot of some of her underlying patterns that and have gotten to her where she is.
Mm-hmm.
And rubber's kind of hitting the road a little bit for her with finances and with yeah, just lack of community and things like that. And so has pretty extreme depression.
Mm-hmm.
And she also, like, she was an only child, and she had two kids, me and my brother, but my brother is an addict.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's not really able to be supportive.
Mm-hmm.
And so she doesn't have any family except for me, basically. And so I feel a lot of responsibility, but I also feel um, overwhelmed by her. Just her
Mm-hmm.
problems are so intense,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm wary to take on anything like that. And I guess the feelings of overwhelm are around like just not quite sure what the right thing to do is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm becoming her healthcare proxy and like doing some stuff to start helping her with her mental health stuff. Mostly is what I
Mm-hmm.
feel like is most important,
Right.
but still, it's really challenging. So anyway, I just a lot of feelings of overwhelm,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of depression, and yeah,
Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of repeat what you said to make sure
yeah,
I understand everything that's going on with you. So you're feeling a lot of senses of overwhelming, a little depression, and all of this kind of relating to your mom's struggle with her mental health.
yeah,
Now,
correct.
is your mom currently getting help with her mental health from a provider?
That's one of the things I don't really know, because she says one thing and then I, it's hard to be sure. So that's why I'm trying to get her to let me be a healthcare proxy
Okay, and
so
when
I
you
can talk
say,
to people.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just so I can be in contact with her therapist
Okay.
and things like that. That hopefully we can get that set up if they're not already,
Mm-hmm.
and then with my help, maybe adding some consistency. I think that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to um, do anything else besides make sure that she has consistent help.
Right. And that's as a son what you want the best for your mom. So these
Yeah,
feelings are very natural.
yeah,
Um, but I can also see the overwhelming, that's a lot of responsibility for one person. So
yeah,
these feelings are okay.
yeah.
Now, um, tell me kind of maybe a story that has made your sense of overwhelming increase. Has
From
a
the
particular? a particular situation happen recently with your mother?
Yeah, there was one particular thing the other day because this is just in the last couple weeks. This has been sort of on the brink of emergency at
Mm-hmm.
times.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there was one time where she was talking to my brother one night, and she had some suicidal ideation,
Mm-hmm.
and then he didn't tell me till the next day.
Mm-hmm.
But then the second he told me, I called her, and then she wasn't picking up the phones. And I didn't think she had done anything, but just the potential that she did
Mm-hmm.
was like, it freaked me out a little bit, but it was like, again, it was like, what's the right thing to do? So I decided the right thing to do, and I talked to my another family member, a distant relative that I'm close with, though, about it, and she recommended that I just do a wellness check with the police.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did that, and that was I guess it's just that first I wasn't sure what had happened because she wasn't picking up the phone all day,
Right.
and that might the story from my brother. And then I'm on the phone with the police, and they're very police-y about it,
Mm-hmm.
and it just ramped it up for me.
Right.
And then she got really mad at me for doing that, but then I was like, I'm trying to do the right thing and just like um, follow sort of a procedure, but it's not easy to know what the right thing to do is. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
story of just like, ah, I
Yeah,
feel
that's
good about what I did, but it just, yeah,
well.
anyway.
Well, I'm glad that you feel good about it because like you said, you just want the best for your mom, and that seemed like the right thing to do at the time, and I agree with you. So that story does tell me that these responsibilities are very overwhelming to you. What are you doing to work on your stress level?
Um, I I'm okay. I assess myself reasonably okay at managing my stress. I have this time of year in particular is very stressful for my because my job is very demanding
Okay.
during the summer months.
What do you do?
I'm a field biologist and I'm a guide. So,
Okay.
it turns out that in the summer we have just a lot more going on than in the winter.
Right.
And yeah, so I think that is part of it. But that being said, I get to go be outside a lot for my job,
Mhm.
and so that's kind of really important to me is spending time outside, and
Sure.
that's just really purely de-stressing for me.
Mhm.
Um, so that would be something that I do
Okay.
de-stress. I also have a meditation practice that I
Oh,
do fairly regularly,
very
and
nice.
that helps. So yeah.
Okay, so when you're kind of feeling these feelings related to your mom of being overwhelmed, are those the times you meditate?
I wish I could say. No, I think I just try and keep it consistent, and
Okay.
then when things happen, then
Mhm.
I'm meditating and I'm feeling more of the feelings of overwhelm, but I'm like feeling them meditating or something like that. Just, I'm more aware. I guess it just allows me to be more aware of my uh,
Right.
of that stuff. But yeah, I
Okay.
try and be consistent about it a lot more. But then it is harder to do something like that, meditate when I'm stressed. So I
Right.
guess it's like those are actually the important times to meditate too. So or do
Right.
something like that.
Definitely. Well, as long as you're aware of those things, it's something you could definitely work on.
Yeah.
Um, so one question, is your mom close to, does she live close to you?
Not really. She's a
No.
couple out, like a 5-hour drive. So yeah,
Okay,
no.
so that's the reason you had to call for the wellness check and you couldn't go over there yourself.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Do
That was
do
clear.
you
Yeah.
do you feel like that is also kind of maybe a little bit of a barrier when trying to help your mom that you're a little far away from her?
Yeah. Well, that's a really good question. But I think that I was talking to a friend about this. It's actually it's like a blessing and a curse to be far
Mhm.
away from her because it's
Right.
like on a certain level it's stressful because it's hard to know exactly what's going on, but on another level it's just like it allows me to be pretty detached, which I think is pretty important.
Mhm.
um, because I'm in grad school right now. More than a, I've got a girlfriend, I've got like various things in my life that I want to put energy into, and then it's like, not that I don't want to give energy to my mom, but I know that if I lived close that I could get sucked down a rabbit
Yeah.
hole.
Right. You would give a little bit more than
Yeah.
and lose time with other aspects of your life. I
But my
agree.
brother lives close. Like I said, my brother, he's a recovering addict. So he's actually doing okay, and I wish he didn't have to deal with my mom's stuff, but he is there. So at least he can go on.
Right.
I can rely on him to give me information. And so,
That's good. Okay, I kind of want to switch gears a little bit
yep.
to what I like to call dream analysis. So I want you to think of a dream that you've had recently, or maybe a reoccurring dream, and we're just going to talk about it.
Okay. So one dream that's kind of related, I actually haven't had it in a while, but I've had it recur, every couple of years for
Okay.
a decade or so. But it's really simple. It's basically I'm in the woods and it's like nighttime
Mhm.
and my mother is lost and my
Mhm.
brother and I are looking for her,
Mhm.
and we're kind of like this. The part of the dream that comes up is we're kind of like at a crossroads, like in the
Mhm.
trail,
Mhm.
and then we have to decide if we're gonna split up and go different directions or if we're gonna go the same way.
Okay. And you
So
said you've had it. It's a reoccurring dream,
yeah,
but you haven't had it recently.
no, not recently, but it's something I've been thinking about. Something,
Okay. And what do you think is the reason behind you having this dream about your mother being lost?
I think if I had to put something down on it, I think it's you know that I feel like I want her to be safe
Mhm.
and find to get out of the woods, I guess, and
Mhm.
find some solidity.
In her life, definitely.
And I want to be finding her,
Mhm.
but I can't find her.
Now,
Um,
how do you think the two paths come into play? You said there were two
that's
paths, and
yeah. I'm less clear on that.
mhm.
But yeah, I think maybe it is like a fork in the road kind of thing. Like you either go this way or you go that way, and you can't really do both
Mhm.
because that's where the um, discussion with my brother comes in. It's kind of like, um, and also like maybe it has to do with my relationship with him and like his choices and
Mhm.
our differences and how we've lived our lives and like
Right.
something like that. But
Mhm.
I think it has more to do with my mom and just like how I want to act with her.
Yeah,
Um,
you want to help her get out of the woods. Do you want to help her better her life?
I do, but I'm also really nervous. Um, I deeply want to help my mother, but I also am like afraid that helping her will hurt me.
Why do you
And
think that is?
I think it's,
Why will helping her hurt you?
I guess
If you don't know right now, that's okay, 'cause that's why we're here. We're here to work through these things together.
that's a good question. I think it's worth. I guess I think.
Helping.
I guess it's just that I think she's. I guess I judge her maybe a little bit as like a little bit of a parasite
Mhm.
and kind of like just an energy suck and kind of like
Mhm.
and not really giving back and
Right. You're
um
doing all the work.
so and she really like when you are helping her, she doesn't do anything for herself, and it's kind of like she just flops.
Mhm.
And so I guess that's like, I don't want her, I want to be clear. I guess that's the thing. I really want to be clear with her about what my boundaries are.
Mhm.
What I'm like, I'm willing to do healthcare proxy. I'm willing to do this, but I'm not gonna like give you $2,000 or like I'll let you live in
Mhm.
my house or whatever. Like,
Right.
I know that sounds dramatic in a certain way, but
No,
it's just
no,
I have to
definitely
be
not.
clear.
I
And it's just hard and awkward to draw those lines sometimes.
well,
'Cause,
definitely. It's
like,
your mother.
yeah, exactly. But I want to help her, and I really truly want her to be better. But what's going to get her better? Like
Mhm.
getting mental health care.
Right.
Um, so
Okay. So, is she open to getting the mental health care, or is that what you guys are working on right now
I
together?
think we're trying to figure out that if she actually is open,
Okay.
um, to do it, to really trying to get better.
Mhm.
Uh, 'Cause I'm not sure if she is.
Mhm.
So, and that
Okay.
might be a deal breaker for me.
Right.
Like, I guess maybe that's the part that's scary. The scariest is like trying to help somebody who doesn't really even want to be, like, they want to be helped in a certain way, like taken care of, but they don't really want to be helped like to get better,
Mhm.
which is what I want.
Right.
Um, but
Okay. So we're kind of just going to recap what we've talked about today, so we know where to go forward with our next session.
okay.
Um, you're here because you are going through a lot of overwhelming feelings, a little sense of depression, um, because you're trying to help your mom get better in her mental health. So you are having a lot of sense of responsibility in making this happen.
Yep.
Um, but you also are a little undecided if it is going to happen, whether your mom is open to getting help or not.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So you want to help her. That is your goal, but you're also not sure if that's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Okay. So these feelings are very overwhelming. So we really want to come up with a good plan as to how you, moving forward, are going to come up with a plan. Because if you got to make sure you're good and
Yeah.
your sense of feelings are okay before you can help her. So
Hmm.
we got to work on how to limit these overwhelming feelings coming into play. So I definitely, you talked about the meditation and
Yep.
going outside. So let's plan on that still happening throughout your week.
Yep.
And do you think of anything else you could do when you're kind of getting those senses of overwhelmingness or a little depressed at moments? What is something else maybe you could do?
Um, I think the thing that with my mother is
Mm-hmm.
I usually just take a second, do some deep breathing, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'll call somebody that I'm close with that is like is gonna is a more solid person.
Yeah.
Someone that I'm really close with that I can just kind of be, um, just be like, hey,
Talk
this
it
is what I'm
out.
going through,
Mm-hmm.
and how's everything with you, kind of thing. Um, like my stepsister or a friend or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that is something that has always been really helpful.
That's good.
As I've gotten older, I've seen the value of that kind of stuff way
Mm-hmm.
more. So yeah, that's
Okay.
important.
Definitely. I like to see that you're aware of this, and you're also aware of how maybe um, your mom's past has kind of affected, who you are today and where you were and where you want to be. And
Yep.
I can also see that that relationship has kind of made you concerned for wanting to help her.
Yeah, for
Is
sure.
that true?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, well, Matthew, thank you for today. We're going to have a good game plan for next session.
Sounds good, Jennifer.
Do
Thank
you
you very
have
much.
any questions or concerns about today?
Nope. No, I
Something you
think
want to try a little different for next week?
we can try it again next time.
Okay. Same time, same place?
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer.